Well, good afternoon, everybody. It's officially noon according to my clock here. Thanks so much for everybody for joining us for the Greater Des Moines Partnerships Investor and Member Briefing. I'm Jay Byers, and I think I know probably most of you, and I've met most of you. But for those of you who don't know me, I'm CEO of the partnership, and just want to personally thank all of you for making time to join us today. Hope all of you have been hanging in there. We know these are challenging, tough times and unprecedented times, and a lot of uncertainty out there. So just wanted to thank you again for making time, for what you're all doing to step up in your organizations, your businesses, your communities, your nonprofits, and in our region as a whole, and doing some very extraordinary things out there, and for supporting each other. We know that that's what really makes Iowa great. That's what makes Greater Des Moines great. When times are tough, we lock arms, and we can all get through this together, and that's what we've been doing. We know that Iowa is a strong and resilient state. It's a strong and resilient region here in Greater Des Moines, and we've all been stepping up. So before we get into this, just some general ground rules. Please make sure to mute your settings. We will be going through a lot of different information from our senior team, and having a number of asks from you as well too. But just want to make sure everybody knows we'll have plenty of time at the end for Q&A through the chat function. If you have questions along the way, you can post those there. And we're happy to answer all these questions, and we'll be on here for at least an hour. So that being said, thanks again for joining us. I think in times like this and tough times, people look to leaders for reassurance, and they look to leaders for confidence and strength and resilience and calm. And that's what we've been trying to do here at the partnership is to provide that voice for our region, and to work with all of our regional partners at the public and private and nonprofit level to have that unified approach. And while the long-term strategic initiatives of the partnership are still very important, we have really realigned and refocused and pivoted our strategy in really sort of three simple parts. So asking these three simple questions and really focusing on these three big picture focuses. And that's number one, what can we do to keep businesses in business? What can we do to keep people working? And what can we do to help keep our community healthy? And that's really our focus that we've done as an organization, as a team, to redeploy our staff members, our resources, and our time to really focus on these three big issues over the course of the last 3 to 4 weeks, and really moving forward here for the short-term strategic plan. So that's what you're going to be hearing from today from our team in terms of what we've been doing, what we're going to be doing, and then to really get your input in terms of what we need to be doing moving forward, and what we can do specifically to help all of you individually and as communities and businesses, nonprofits, and organizations. And so again, thank you for joining us today. Thank you for making that time. Thank you for being investors in the partnership and believing in our mission, and for being our members. We're called the partnership for a reason, and it's never been more apparent than it's been to me in the last 3 weeks in terms of, as a region, what we can do to partner together to do things that we never thought we'd have to do, and really get through a really tough situation, not only for our region, but for our country and world. And we need to be that shining example of how to do it right, and to be those leaders and be those best practices. So that is our goal with the partnership, and you're going to be hearing more about that now. So without further ado, I am going to turn this over to Tiffany Tauschek from our team, our Chief Strategy Officer, and we'll go from there. So again, thanks for joining us. I look forward to the Q&A.
Thanks, Jay, and thank you all for taking time to participate in this briefing today. Again, as Jay said, we really appreciate the work that you're all doing and the help that everyone is providing to each other and just the community at large. As you know, the partnership is always focused on storytelling and content, and now specifically we're heavily focused on positive storytelling and ongoing communications and outreach to our investors, affiliates, members, and partners. We launched early on in this, which feels like a long time ago, but was really just a few weeks ago. We launched a COVID-19 rapid response hub on our website. And that includes content and information, resources, as well as virtual programming information. And that's all accessible via our homepage. So please feel free to check that out and share that with your team members and others in the community that may find that beneficial. We're also continuing to communicate nearly on a daily basis with a large number of businesses and organizations and individuals, different opportunities for resource sharing and leveraging a lot of that content and programming, virtual programming that we've lifted up and put in place over the course of the last few weeks. So really our goal is to provide as many resources as possible to align with those strategies that Jay touched on, to provide businesses and organizations ways to be successful during this difficult time. So that really does fall in alignment with that keeping businesses in business strategy, as well as keeping people working. As you know, we're always looking for more content, and specifically looking for blogs, videos, social media content, webinar offerings, podcasts, and more. So we want to make sure that you all know that you have an open invitation to provide content, or again, leveraging resources, expertise. Your voice matters, and hearing from you and others in the community at this time is meaningful, it's valued, and we want to be a connector for you. So please let us know how we can help you tell those stories, share those resources. We're also looking for ways to continue to amplify and share story ideas with media. So specifically, we're focusing on sharing stories of resilience, strength, optimism, and innovation. So if you have a story idea that you think makes sense for us to pitch to local or even national media, please let us know. Our PR team is always looking for innovative ways to share our story from a regional perspective. And that really goes back to that strategy of connecting and keeping our community healthy. So we know that that speaks really holistically to our overall ecosystem in our community, as well as the public health aspect. So in alignment with that, we have been sharing ongoing messaging and needs specific to PPE for our healthcare systems, and sharing messages from other DSM area businesses that need help or need support. And we're working to connect those needs and those offerings on an individual basis just as much as possible. So again, the key message there, just please know that we are here as a resource for you and want to do all we can to keep everybody connected. So just touching on quickly some of the initiatives that we've already rolled out that I'm hoping that you have heard of so far and can help us with as these continue to build out. One is DSM Strong. And this message of strength is really designed to show examples of DSM residents and businesses that are demonstrating that strength, pride, compassion, selflessness, and other ways of being very innovative during this time. When we launched this on social media, had traction very quickly. We've had more than 16 million impressions, more than 16,000 engagements, and nearly 900 unique authors of content specific to DSM Strong messaging so far. As you and your organizations are posting and sharing stories on social media, just ask that you please tag us so we can keep informed and also amplify your efforts. We also have on our website available free downloadables. These are great, especially if you know somebody that has kids at home trying to keep them entertained. We have some free coloring sheets and also free signs that include the Hearts for Healthcare Workers messaging. So want to encourage you, that's something we've heard from our healthcare systems here locally, how much they appreciate seeing those signs. So would ask you to please go ahead, print those out and post them in Windows, or just even drop a quick note to anybody that you know that's working front lines, whether that's healthcare related or the grocery stores, those that are keeping areas clean, you name it. Just want to make sure we're showing signs of support. Yesterday, we launched a new podcast called Leading in Times of Challenge. And this features well-known leaders that are talking about different challenges that they've navigated. So would ask you to take a listen to that and help us share that. Again, the goal here is to communicate as many stories of strength and resiliency as possible. I think we're all hungry for those positive news stories, and this is a way to help us share and connect. And then later today, we will be sharing a video that really talks about that DSM strong message. It's a heartfelt compilation and look back at just the last few weeks. These images and photos and video clips that you'll see in this video are all from here locally. They're all DSM area images and videos. And it's a very powerful video. Hope you take a look at that. So that DSM strong message really does align with all three aspects of our overarching strategy, but also spending quite a bit of time on our DSM local challenge. And the local challenge is a partnership that we created with Catch Des Moines. So a big shout out to the Catch Des Moines team. They've been doing a phenomenal job, and we continue to partner with them as much as possible on these initiatives, including encouraging DSM residents to show support of local businesses while practicing social distancing at this time. So this campaign, the DSM Local Challenge, has really taken off. We've done numerous videos, social media posts, blog posts, and promotional pushes. That hashtag for that campaign has more than 25 million impressions to date, more than 21,000 engagements, and more than 550 unique authors. But we know that our small businesses need us now more than ever, and it's really important that we find innovative ways to show support of them while practicing social distancing. So last week we did launch phase 2 of that campaign with the bingo card that's available on our social media and then also on our website. But you'll see more on that DSM Local Challenge very soon. Part of the reason why we really leaned into the DSM Local Challenge messaging and initiatives quickly was because of a survey that we had deployed. And that survey that was sent out March 16th and closed about a week later had more than 600 participants that responded and shared their very candid, honest feedback about how COVID-19 was impacting them at that moment. And we know that already things have changed, and things continue to change on sometimes an hour by hour or daily basis. But we heard through that survey that many individuals were most concerned about the specific impact of COVID-19 on small businesses in the greater Des Moines area. So we've been leaning into content and programming specifically around that area in particular because of the feedback that we've heard. We've also heard overall that there's a lot of concern about obviously public health and just our local economy. So please know that we are keeping those messages that we've heard from you that responded to the survey, and those of you who have been reaching out to us, we're taking those messages very much to heart and leveraging that to help guide our decision making as it aligns with those three overarching strategies that Jay talked on. So certainly we know our region is strong and we have a lot of innovation and positive messaging to share right now, but just want to again reinforce that we need your help in sharing information. We are here for you if you need a resource or need to be connected to someone. And the other senior team members on the call are going to walk you through some additional resources and initiatives that are in the works. But thank you again. And for now, I will pass it over to Andrea Woodard, who is our Senior Vice President of Government Relations and Public Policy.
Thank you, Tiffany. Thanks for everyone joining the call. What a great group today. And want to talk about a few things that we're doing in the government affairs side of things. And, you know, some of them may seem a little bit more behind the scenes, but really want to take this opportunity to let you know how much of a resource we want to be for you. And I'll share a little bit of the ways that we're doing that already. So DMDC, our annual trip we take to Washington, D.C. For many obvious reasons, is on on pause rather, but we also recognize the value of direct advocacy. And so our planning team is taking our time in looking at all of the options. Is there a way for us to take a group there this fall or another time this year, or bring maybe DC to Des Moines? So I mention that because if you're still planning on going, interested in going, or we're planning to go, want you to know that we're still working through all of those scenarios. Secondly, we've really been planning for opportunities that we were already planning for. We recognize that all of the priorities that have been set at the beginning of the year, the airport terminal, transload facility, something we've been working on for a while, and Central Iowa Water Trails, those may be the economic driver in our future recovery. And so what are we doing to make sure those are ready to go as Congress, the state, the president all work toward working through the relief and future recovery of the COVID situation. So we are constantly in touch with each of those offices, the governor's office, our congressional delegation, what to expect from the state legislature when they return, and what their plans are. We are watching every day's press conferences and like I said, sharing what we can with the offices, and also providing opportunities for you all as we have with agency directors and our elected officials as well. So we'll be continuing to provide those connections as we move through the coming weeks. We, in addition to just being in constant communication, we are doing what we can to be that resource, answering questions from getting home from abroad to clarifying business closure questions. All of those things put us in a position to help be the partnership as a resource for you. So while I don't have much more beyond that, just want to offer up our team as a resource as you're navigating the congressional legislation, and also looking forward to what we can do with those priorities moving forward. And so with that, I would love to turn it over to Meg Schneider, who leads our business resources and community development work.
Thanks, Andrea. Thanks to all of you for joining us today. There is great strength in the work that we do as a region with One Voice, One Mission. And that has really served us well in the past and has gotten our region to where it is today. And that is definitely serving us well in this current environment. So as you know, the partnership has 24 affiliated chambers of commerce, and collectively we represent 6,500 members. And most of them are small businesses. So this is certainly a busy time for all of our partners, but there are so many opportunities for us to continue to work together, leverage resources, messaging, create a significant amount of programming, and share those best practices with one another as we navigate this environment. And we continue to see just great partnerships and innovation and different approaches as our chambers really navigate this and make pivots to their own business support and programming. Just a few creative examples. Right out of the gate, Grinnell was able to create a small business assistance fund. Ankeny has done something similar, as has Adel in Knoxville, so that's really exciting. I know Knoxville has been reaching out, as has Waukee, to talk about requests for PPE for their own healthcare providers. Some of our western suburbs have collaborated on a platform to help small businesses with e-commerce. So just lots and lots of great examples of innovation and great, robust programming coming out of this. So I really encourage you to stay in constant contact, not only with us, but with your local chamber to tap into those types of tools. And we'll continue to keep an eye on all of those things too, and make sure that those great stories are lifted and that we're sharing that information. And we do meet with our chambers just on a regular basis. In fact, we all met this morning, and just so we can all keep up on the latest, greatest, whether it's what Andrea just covered in policy or new tools for small business. We're just here for you as we continue to navigate this together, because we are better and stronger together. So that's it for me. I'm going to turn it over to Mary Bontrager now, who oversees our talent efforts.
Great. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us. As Jay had mentioned, among those three key areas of focus, so much of it is really ensuring that we are keeping our people working, or definitely staying work ready for our employers. So a couple of our key initiatives: a few weeks ago, we launched the DSM Employment Ready site. It really has several components to it. The first critical component was to serve as a connection portal for those businesses, some of you that are on the call, that really are needing some immediate needs to help fill your workforce needs right now. And in some cases, those have grown due to the COVID-19 situation. And so if you have or know of anyone who is in need of immediate talent, please let us know, and we will get that posted on the DSM Employment Ready portal. It's also a place where individuals who are looking for some temporary employment opportunities can go and connect with those of you in need of people. As you know, for a number of years, we've had our DSM Career Center. And so we've made some modifications on there as well, recognizing that still your recruitment efforts continue as you look at your needs moving forward. And so we've added some urgency to that site as well. So job seekers can find those opportunities that are hire now needs, and you as well, your postings will get elevated to the top in those situations where you have immediate opportunities and needs. Doing a lot of outreach with our HR community, finding how we can be supportive to them in their efforts to their existing workforce. So the other piece of the DSM Employment Ready site is to serve as a place to offer tools and content to our existing workers that will continue to increase their employability skills and value to all of you moving forward. As you know, a key focus of ours this year was looking at this future world of work and what are those competencies and skills that all of our workers will need as we move into this new world of increased technology and automation and so forth. And so much of the content that we'll be adding onto the DSM Employment Ready site will be podcasts and blogs with tips and learning moments, what will really help our existing workforce gain those core competencies and skills moving forward in the future world of work. And then from a resource offering, keeping it up to date on the latest information from our friends from Iowa Workforce Development and others, so that those that are in need of applying for some of those benefits and so forth have resources and tools to help them work through that process. Another key place certainly is our continued engagement of our DSM fellows. Our fellowship program was designed to really help us grow this next generation of leaders for our community. So staying connected with them and really bringing them into the fold of how do we lead through times of change and challenge is a great experience for them, because they will be our future leaders at some point in time. And then again, as we look at some of our folks that perhaps are a little more marginalized in times of challenge, our work with our global DSM clients, we're continuing to stay connected with them to see how we can be supportive and providing them information and resources during this period of time, and also engaging with many of our minority community-based organizations in the same fashion, because again, some of those who tend to just be a little bit outside the mainstream could become a little further distanced And we want to make sure that doesn't happen in DSM USA, as we are such a welcoming community. So with that, I will turn it over to David Moss, our Executive Vice President of Economic Development. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Mary. The economic development team at the partnership is working in one of those key areas for us, and that's keeping businesses open. We have a number of promising startups that our staff is working with, and our goal is to help them stabilize through this COVID-19 period, to help them continue to move their business plans along and make sure they have the resources they need to continue to operate their startup operations and grow them. Obviously, existing industry outreach to them is very important during this time. We're having weekly conference calls and also calls with our economic development partners almost on a daily basis throughout the 10-county region. We're looking to kind of retool our business retention expansion program, which in the Des Moines area is called our executive call program. We're going to be changing some of the questions in that survey form and talking about new ways to deliver that versus in-person meetings. From a national marketing perspective, we've put a hold on our digital marketing campaign temporarily. We don't believe it's wise to be out aggressively marketing in that respect. It's hard to tell when we're going to come out of this situation and how back to normal we get. So we are looking at developing some tools and techniques to do some virtual prospecting and marketing activities. So again, would be happy to answer any questions later on in the segment, but now I want to turn it over to Gene Meyer, President of the partnership.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. I'll begin by just touching on some of the downtown events. As you all know, the book festival, which was scheduled to happen last March 28th, was canceled. We have postponed our Out to Lunch series with no new dates set. The farmers market has been postponed, although we're exploring alternative ways to deliver some aspects of the market. And we're looking for ways to help our fresh produce farmers find new and innovative ways to market their products. Other events that are scheduled for later in the fall or early winter, like World Food and Music or the Promenade, are under evaluation, but still on the schedule. I think World Food is an October event and Promenade is a December event. Work continues on downtown Skywalk security. We're finalizing the location for the 6 camera pods that'll be in place inside the Skywalk. We're working on running cable throughout the Skywalk system and on a maintenance agreement with the Skywalk Association. Operation Downtown, whose missions are clean, safe, and beautiful, are really putting a huge emphasis on safe as they continue to help our downtown stay clean to the point of even walking the skywalks and sanitizing banisters, etc. It's just kind of a side note, the one increase we've seen is that of graffiti, both in the downtown area and the Ingersoll-Smith area. And I guess that's maybe because there aren't enough of us downtown watching other people, just for your information. And other than that, I'll now turn it back to Tiffany.
Well, thanks, Gene, and thanks everybody for providing a quick overview of some of the great work that's happening in partnership with so many of you that are on this webinar. Just a quick recap of those calls to action. Specifically, we are all about content creation and curation, so please let's leverage each other's resources and expertise. Also ask you to please help us and participate in the DSM Local Challenge and DSM Strong, whether that's through a social media perspective or by supporting local. Any aspect that you could do to plug in and engage with those 2 initiatives would be very much appreciated. Also, we are looking specifically for our referral network, looking for legal, HR, and banking professionals and CPAs as well. If you are able to and interested in providing some consultation and services to those that are in need of some help in those areas right now. If you could please let us know. Angie Stepsis, who's on the line here, and I'm sure many of you have her email address, or you can reach out to any of us. We'll get you plugged and engaged with the referral network, which is posted on the COVID-19 Rapid Response Hub as well. Also, as Mary had underscored, please help us with sharing that DSM employment ready information. And finally, again, just please let us know how we can be helpful to you. We truly are better and stronger together, even from a distance. So let's do all we can to stay connected. And with that, I will pass it back to Jay Byers for some Q&A.
Thanks, Tiffany, and thanks to the rest of our senior team for their presentations. You know, I've worked with this group for a long time, and I know a lot of you know them, but I could not be more proud of the partnership team, the senior team. Our entire team has really stepped up to this challenge. We were able to convert to a virtual office very quickly and have not missed a beat. So again, great job to our senior team, and just want them to know how much I appreciate the work that they're doing. We are going to go into Q&A now. I'm going to ask that everybody use the chat just so we can sort of manage this, and we will get to everybody's questions and comments. So again, we have, it looks like about half an hour yet to use if we need to do that, and we're happy to stay on as long as we need to answer everybody's questions. Just want to let everybody else know too that if anybody wants to talk one-on-one with any of us in our expertise, whether it's me or anyone on the senior team, please feel free to take that offline too. We're happy to chat via email or phone. Anytime, and we want to do that personal concierge service with one-on-one with all of our members to do everything we can to help you. So first question is there a list of events for downtown that talks about, is that publicly listed in terms of what's been canceled and what is still on? So first and foremost, I'll quickly answer that. We do have an events page on our website. And then specifically with our downtown events with status in terms of the farmers market and some of these other events, I'm going to see if Tiffany has some additional insight on that.
You bet. Well, we have shared publicly the information about the downtown farmers market, just that our plan is to, as Jean had mentioned, to continue to pause and wait for the right timing based off of what we're hearing from CDC and other official sources. So that continues to remain on pause for now, but please know that our team is very creative and innovative and looking for great ways to potentially provide some of those producers and farmers ways to share their resources with others. So we're still working through that. And in regards to the other events that were mentioned, that's again, we're just doing all that we can to be sure that we're following the CDC guidelines and other guidelines that have been provided to us. So just be watching our news page on the partnership for those updates as they become available in public. But to just want to also underscore Jay's point that the events that are happening and that we know are happening, which are virtual events at this point primarily in the next couple of months, those are posted on our webpage. So the COVID-19 Rapid Response Hub, there is a list of events and virtual programming offerings that anybody can engage in. Thank you.
Thanks, Tiffany. And just to let everybody know, in terms of the process we used, you know, going back now 3+ weeks, is very quickly we did a sort of a 3-question ask with the events we had on our books. Number one is, can we move these events to virtual, which we did that with a handful. If we can't move them to virtual, can we move the events? And for those and reschedule them for those that we could, we did that. And then finally, if we were not able to do that, we had to cancel. And that was just the method we used. We did that very quickly and I think pretty seamlessly. But as Tiffany said, we have to and we will continue to follow the guidelines of the state and in our cities in terms of you know, that social distancing. And again, it's too early for us to really tell on some of these other events and when we're able to kind of get back to normal. But we want to get back to normal as soon as everybody else does. But we just have to, again, one of those 3 factors that we're looking at, keep the community healthy. And that's part of that discussion as well too. Okay, we're going to move on now. One is a comment from Matt Smith, and this is just to share. And if you're looking at comments, you've seen this too. The Hope for the Warriors offer services for employment resources for veterans and military services. And I think it's great to know that. Thank you for that. And again, our veterans and military families are very, very important. And now in terms of, making sure that we keep as many people employed as possible. Thank you for your help with that. And we'll look forward to partnering you on that as well too. And I'm sure Mary has duly noted that as well too. Okay, moving on to the next question. Government relations related. So get ready here, Andrea. Number one, when the legislature comes back for session, have you gotten a sense of whether they will just focus on budget approval or continue to consider other policy priorities and bills? Number two, have you heard any discussion at the federal level regarding potential infrastructure investment legislation? You are up, Andrea.
Thanks, Jay, and thanks for the questions, Matt. On the first one, in terms of the state legislature, it depends on who you talk to. Right now, we've heard everything from very quick, maybe come in over the summer once planting season is wrapped up, a quick finish up whatever budget conversations need to be had and get out of there, to maybe spend on the other side of the spectrum, spending a couple of months doing some of the priorities. I think, between our farming seasons, the election season will all come into play on that. The Legislative Council meets tomorrow night to be a call to just formally extend the legislative session. As you may remember, they had planned to come back April 15th when they first adjourned mid-March. So formally extending that tomorrow night, and we'll continue to follow up and see what we hear from the state legislative leaders. On the second question about the federal level, there had been quite a bit of talk in the last week about a phase 4 package that could include a lot of infrastructure efforts. And early this week, it seemed that conversation may be put on pause as we're really still dealing with sort of the relief effort. President Trump has called for $250 billion more to go to the PPP program. That's that new payment protection program that was developed in the CARES Act and is still kind of being rolled out. So it seems as if, and Speaker Pelosi has also said too, there may need to be sort of a phase 3.5 aid package that hits on some of the existing efforts that we've been seeing and expands either the funding or maybe eligibility for some of those before looking at an infrastructure package. But as I alluded to earlier, I know it is absolutely something we are talking about, and will be identifying ways that we can help talk about our priorities and projects that could be a great economic driver when we do enter more of a recovery phase. Thanks.
Thanks, Andrea. I just posted another question here too. Are there, are there other things out there? And we got some of the, the best and innovative and creative minds in the region that are on this call right now. Are there other things that you think we can or should be doing to assist you, your businesses, your organizations, your communities? And just we'll sort of open that up quickly. And I guess as we're waiting, I'll ask the rest of the senior team if there's anything that they wanted to add based off of the comments and presentation so far. Okay, well, I'm not seeing any more questions right now, so I know everybody is very, very busy. But just want to let everybody know we're planning to do these briefings here on more of a regular basis moving forward, and to update you all on new initiatives. There's a handful of other things that we're working for, I should say a number of other things that we're working on right now that are still in the creation phase that are very exciting, and I think that will be very effective, and some additional tools building off of what you've already heard today. So we'll continue to roll all those out. Let's see here. We do have another question. What is the best way to share virtual offerings with you? Okay, I will have Tiffany answer that one.
Yes, and thanks for bringing that up. We are happy to help promote and share different offerings and virtual programming, resources, etc. If you want to, you are welcome to email those to me and I'll get those to the appropriate team members to get those moving. My email address has been dropped into the group chat. But also if you have a connection and relationship with somebody else on senior team or at the partnership, you're welcome to go ahead and email those. We are all in constant communication and happy to provide that information to team members to get that promoted. But primarily right now, we are promoting via social media in addition to the website. And then our team has been really proactive with almost daily ongoing communications to thousands of business leaders. So if you are not receiving a newsletter from us, an email from us on a fairly consistent basis, please also feel free to let me know and we'll get you plugged into that so that you're receiving those emails. But we're including as much content and sharing of information, and it's not just partnership resources. We're sharing information from communities and community partners, as well as those affiliates and members that Meg had referenced earlier. We want to share information as much and as often as needed that provides relevant and timely content.
Got some more here. Just keep on going here. This is Rock Valley Physical Therapy Clinics are still open. We're screening patients prior to their arrival. And again, our clinic with temperature and symptom assessments. Our goal is to keep people with injuries out of our urgent cares and emergency rooms when possible. So please spread the word. Our hospital systems are going to continue to be stressed over the next 8 weeks. That's good to know. Thank you for sharing that, Logan. These are the stories we need to hear. Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Well, just keep them coming here. I think we're going to just, again, work on wrapping this up here. But thanks, everybody, again, for making time. Thanks for stepping up. Thank you for being part of the partnership and being investors and regional members. We really appreciate it. And as Meg said, our strength has been speaking with one voice. And I think more than ever, what has made the DSM USA region great has been really even more apparent here in the last 3 to 4 weeks. Those things such as regionalism, public-private partnerships, visioning, and more important than ever, leadership. And that's really showing through right now and really continuing to set us apart from what is happening in other places. And again, I do want to reiterate, if anybody wants to talk with any of us one-on-one anytime, please let us know. We're happy to do that. And then also, we are big believers in best practices. All of our senior team and down the line have very strong connections statewide, nationally, and even internationally within our industry. And we're trying the very best we can is to learn from best practices from other regions and other places. So if you are seeing or hearing of things that other places are doing that we should be considering, please let us know that as well too. We are having senior team calls early morning every day, talking about these sort of things and sharing these best practices and seeing what we can implement as fast as we can, and doing everything possible to help, number one, get our region through this, but then to position ourselves for that recovery in the best way possible. So with that, again, thanks for joining us. Remember to use the hashtags DSMstrong, do the Look Local Challenge, and all these other calls to action that we had today, and sharing content and everything else. So again, we are the partnership together. We're called the partnership for a reason. It's you are us, we are you. And we need you more than ever to help all of us get through this, and we will, and we'll be stronger for it. So again, thanks for being part of this call, and look forward for more of these as we continue to work through this together. So remember, hashtag DSMstrong, and everybody have a great day.